Okay, I'm having an interesting conversation, and I've seen one report again from Dr. Drew that really helps explain global insanity. And I'll put a link to this one interview on CNN with Dr. Drew. Really, really kind of look at it, because he's describing why these elites are getting away with being mentally ill, and you can't stop them because they have all of this wealth. Um, it's like if you're really, really rich, there is no stopping your insanity. And Dr. Drew happens to be rich. As soon as you become the doctor, you are insane. And you know, who diagnoses the doctor? That is one of our biggest problems. I am a massive, massive fan of holodynamics, because it really explains what the hell is going on. However, the guy that created this concept is also a doctor. And he's dealing with his own insanity because he's not following his own rules. This doctor came up with this concept that claims this is a tool that can solve every problem known to the human experience. Yet he wrote a lot of books on how he's been curing cancer, AIDS, addictions, every problem for over 20 years. We want to talk about peer review to prove whether this science is correct or not. And it's like, if any peer reviews this, it's like admitting you're totally insane. So which guy is going to stand up and say, I'm insane, this shit is right? You won't find a scientist that says I'm wrong. So you won't find a scientist that will peer review this to be the perfect science that's on the planet right now. Because if they did, then our whole medical system, it would collapse. Our whole economic system would shift. Everything would be a game changer if we actually had doctors, scientists, politicians admit, okay, we're friggin' insane. You won't see that right now. Dr. Wolf is like in his own insanity as well, and because he's written these books and could solve every problem known to the human experience, can really change healthcare and everything, why aren't these books on the bestsellers? You know, that I would see as a bit of a problem. That if I wrote a book, I'd want people to read it, and they're over 20 years old. There is one good sign of his own insanity, because he's not recognizing the unknown problem. And the unknown problem has been humanity's biggest problem. We can't identify with the unknown problem. What is it? What is the unknown problem? You will find it in everything you complain about or you make an excuse about. That is the problem. That's the unknown problem, because you always want to see that problem as caused by out there and not actually something that's coming from within. We are not beings that want to be personal, responsible, and accountable for our own reality. We want to blame the outside world. And that, in a way, is our duality going on, because if we change self, and everybody change self, then we change the matrix. We are like a flock of birds. We are like a herd of sheep. We will go together in the same direction. And right now we're headed off the friggin' planet to kill ourselves, and humanity is acting like a herd right now, right off that friggin' cliff. And so yes, you are tied to the herd, but the only way the herd will change direction if everyone individually decides to change their own personal direction. So in a way, it is the outside world, but it can only change from the inside world. And you have to be a lot stronger than the herd. It's like you have to pull yourself out. And that is the challenge, because you're going to be the one that stands out. And standing out is not being accepted. and we're all fighting not to be part of that group. That's why you see so many teenagers, you know, the generation gaps have been somewhat different, so the patterns are you know, they're the same, but the behaviors look a little different. But you'll color your hair pink, or you'll get a tattoo, you'll do something that gets you away from that group because you don't want to be in that group. You want to represent yourself. But the problem is as soon as you color your hair pink and everybody else that doesn't want to be part of that group colors their hair pink, so now you've just, you know, created another group. So you're not an individual, but you're guiding everybody into different directions. So in this interview with Dr. Drew, he does explain that you can't stop these people. Money, wealth, will not stop itself. And Dr. Drew is one of them. He is just freaking insane, because while he's judging Charlie Sheen to be having a drug problem and his thinking is really destructive, Dr. Drew's answer is get him addicted to a different drug. You know, don't solve the problem. The only way to solve a drug problem is developing a drug problem. That sounds a little insane, but Dr. Drew will make a lot of money off of selling these drugs. You know, he'll get a lot of money by being the guy that's diagnosing. So it's like, I wish Dr. Drew would gain his own, you know, sanity and see his own contradictions. They've written books on the art of war, and part of the insanity that's controlling this world is remain calm. Always remain calm, and you'll always be perceived as the guy that knows what's right. You know, put the fake smile on, talk as if you know what you're talking about, you know, use your money, your wealth to say, I'm the one that knows more, because everybody's in agreement that the smart guy is the guy with the biggest bank account. So remain calm. It's easier to remain calm when you have all the stuff. You're eating properly, you know. It's so much easier to remain calm when you are the winner of the battle, but you are the terrorist of the battle. You are the creator of the battle. You are the enemy. Evil always remains calm because it's so manipulative when it's calm. But if you can see how evil works and use some of evil's tools and try to get out of the contradiction, then you can help heal yourself. Remaining calm, it gains more respect. The whole world can hear you better when you're calmer. That's what evil does. So use some of the tools that evil uses. So remaining calm is one of the first things to go with. Now, Charlie Sheen is extremely pissed off. But how are you going to react when you lose your house? How are you going to act like if you are a victim of a crime? You'll get pissed off. You'll get just as pissed off as Charlie Sheen. This is going to happen on a global basis. And then you're going to lose control, which, I mean, these really, really smart people know the way the game's played. And it's like, now we can get better control as long as we get you angry. As long as you're angry, you're not going to be able to think properly. And I have said it before that you will gain good information if you are loving and peaceful. You will get really bad information if you're angry and frustrated. So while Dr. Drew appears to be calm and peaceful, he ain't exactly peaceful and loving in a healthy way because he's got the wealth. He needs to be better than someone else. That is not a loving perspective. This is what's screwing up humanity, is we can't identify what love actually is. And we've attached love to be, you have the most money, You're the guy that has you're the leader. You know, you would be the president. You would be the head of a CEO. You would be the motivational speaker like Deepak Chopra, who's been saying, you know, how to live right, and then starts writing books on accept death. You know, life is about death. And, you know, like, as soon as you take that leadership role, what you need is the crowd to love you. And that's a fake love, you know, because you aren't loving self. That's one of the reasons why I don't want to be a leader to anything. It's be your own leader. Listen to your own self. Find your own heart. Whatever, you know, if you love your car, you love your house, you love your clothes, you know, whatever it is you love out in the external world, can you turn that in and say you love yourself just as much? That is the trick. I'm still dealing with that trick. You know, so I am not the one to be listening to. I at least see my own insanity because I haven't developed that level of love that's required to access perfect information. I'm a work in progress as well. But I can at least see the game that's being played. Now, I've also said that Charlie Sheen is just living by his father's rules. It is the sins of the father. Martin Sheen was an addict. He is still an addict. He is, you know, a member of AA, which Charlie is totally in disagreement with AA. He sees that it does not work. Why? Because Charlie Sheen wants to solve a problem. Is he in the solution? No. Because if a solution appeared, we'd all be ganging up on it. We'd all be following that path. We'd all be, we'd have a big aha moment. But there's a lot of contradictions in what Charlie's doing right now. So he hasn't found it, but he's closer than his own father. Because while his father is a member of AA, he has to admit, I got a problem. I got a problem that I'm not willing to solve. I'm just not going to use a drug to solve that problem. But what he's using is religion. You know, I was born Catholic, so I'm criticizing my own religion that I was born into, but I've seen the contradictions within religion. And one of the biggest problems that I've seen is spare the rod, you spoil the child. The Bible has a lot to do with discipline. You have to really be disciplined to follow God. And that is totally wrong. You are a perfect human being. You are born perfect. It's not hard to do the right thing. It's hard to do the wrong thing. So in order to constantly, perpetually do the wrong thing, you must be very disciplined. There's no discipline in doing the right thing. The right thing is natural. You do it intuitively, instinctually. But genetically, over years and years, we have been teaching our children from birth how to do the wrong thing. And we teach them through our discipline. We don't know how to find our own selves. We don't know how to love ourselves. So while we don't know how to do the right thing, we're going to discipline our kids to do the wrong thing and thinking that we're right. So I very much stand by my words that Charlie Sheen is definitely living his father's mistakes, his father's problems that he doesn't want to solve. Charlie's just, it's in our face. We're going to deal with this problem and we are going to solve this problem. You know, I ain't stopping until we solve this problem. Part of Dr. Drew is saying that in order to not solve that problem, take a drug. And that drug will get you off the path of your attempts to solve the problem. We don't want you out of that box. We want to keep you in that box of everything that's wrong. And Charlie's just going crazy and saying, no, I'm getting out of that box. You know, there's no stopping me. And I'm going to continue on another tape because this is really cool.